Madison Square Garden, New York. Muhammad Ali had just won another fight. The crowd was chanting his name. He walked down the corridor toward the locker room, championship belt over his shoulder, feeling invincible. Then he passed an elderly janitor, mopping the floor. Ali barely noticed him. Just another worker, another face in the background of his greatness. But the janitor noticed Ali, and what he said in the next 10 seconds would haunt Muhammad Ali for the rest of his life. "You're not a champion." Ali stopped, turned around. "What did you say?" The janitor, 65-year-old James Wilson, looked up from his mop. "I said you're not a champion. Not yet." What happened next wouldn't just humble the greatest boxer in the world, it would teach him that real championship has nothing to do with belts. Ali thought he'd heard wrong. September 1978. Muhammad Ali was on top of the world again. At 36, he'd just beaten Leon Spinks to reclaim the heavyweight title for an unprecedented third time. The media called him the greatest. Fans worshipped him. He'd transcended boxing. He was a global icon. That night at Madison Square Garden, Ali had dominated, won easily. In the locker room corridor afterward, he was still riding the high, the adrenaline, the victory, the proof that he still had it. He walked past the janitor without really seeing him, just another employee, someone to clean up after the real stars left. But James Wilson saw Ali, and he'd been seeing Ali for years. Every fight at Madison Square Garden, James was there, mopping floors, cleaning locker rooms, invisible to the champions who walked these halls. James had seen Ali at his best, and he'd seen something else too, something that troubled him. He'd seen how Ali treated people when the cameras were off, the dismissive nods to security guards, the impatient tone with staff, the way Ali walked through crowds like they existed only to serve him. Small things, things most people didn't notice. But James noticed, because when you're invisible, you see everything. So when Ali walked past him that night, James made a decision. He spoke up. "You're not a champion." Ali stopped mid-stride, turned slowly. "What did you say?" James leaned on his mop, looked Ali directly in the eyes. "I said you're not a champion. Do you know who I am?" "I know who you are. Muhammad Ali, 3-time heavyweight champion, the greatest boxer in the world." James paused. "But you're not a champion." Ali stepped closer. "I just won the title, again, for the 3rd time. What does that make me if not a champion?" "It makes you a good boxer." Ali's face went from confusion to anger. "A good boxer?" Ali's voice rose. "I'm the greatest of all time. In the ring, maybe." James went back to mopping. "Outside the ring, you've got work to do." "What are you talking about?" James stopped, put down his mop. "Mr. Ali, I've worked here for 23 years. I've seen every champion who walked these halls. Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Joe Louis before that. You know what made them champions? Winning. No, how they treated people like me." Ali was quiet. "People like you, the invisible people, the janitors, the security guards, the people who make minimum wage so you can make millions. Joe Louis, he learned my name. First week he fought here. Joe Frazier, he helped me move a heavy trash bin last year. Didn't have to, just saw me struggling and helped. And me, you've walked past me 100 times, never once looked at me. Not really. I'm just part of the scenery to you." Ali's face changed, the anger fading, something else replacing it. "Shame? Confusion? I've been focused on my career. I know, and you've built a great career. But a champion isn't just someone who wins fights. A champion is someone who lifts up the people around them, who remembers that we're all human, that your success was built on the backs of thousands of people you never see." James picked up his mop again. "You want to be a real champion, Mr. Ali? Start seeing the invisible people. Learn our names. Treat us like we matter. Because we do." Ali stood there, stunned. His championship belt suddenly felt heavy. Not from its weight, from what it represented. Ego, pride, blindness to others. "What's your name?" Ali finally asked. "James Wilson." "How long have you worked here, James?" 23 years next month. "And I never asked your name." "No, sir, you didn't." Ali extended his hand. "I'm sorry, James. You're right. I've been so focused on being great that I forgot to be good." James shook his hand. "It's not too late to change, Mr. Ali. Champions can be made in the ring, but real champions are made in moments like this." Ali didn't sleep that night. Ali left Madison Square Garden that night, but James's words stayed with him. "You're not a champion. Not yet." He thought about all the people he'd ignored. The drivers, the cooks, the security guards, the cleaning staff, people who worked so he could perform, people whose names he never learned. The next morning, Ali made a decision. He called his manager. "I want the name and number of every janitor who works at every arena I fight in." "What? Why?" "Just get them." Over the next week, Ali called 47 people. Janitors, security guards, arena staff,
introduced himself, asked their names, apologized for never noticing them before. Most were shocked, some didn't believe it was really him, but Ali persisted, and he called James Wilson every day, at first just to talk, to learn about James's life, his family, his struggles. James had worked as a janitor for 40 years, raised 4 kids on minimum wage, put 3 through college, lost his wife to cancer 5 years earlier, still came to work every day with dignity. "Why do you do it?" Ali asked during one call. "The job, for so little money, because it's honest work, because someone has to do it, because I take pride in doing it well, even if nobody notices. I notice now." Every day, 3 p.m., Ali would call James. They'd talk for 20 minutes, about life, about work, about what it means to be successful. James became Ali's unofficial mentor, teaching him things boxing could never teach: humility, gratitude, the value of every human being. 6 months later, Ali fought Larry Holmes. Before the fight, Ali insisted James be backstage, front row seat, VIP treatment. "You're my guest of honor," Ali told him. "Mr. Ali, I'm just a janitor." "No, James, you're a champion. You taught me what that word really means." But Ali lost that fight badly. November 1980. Larry Holmes destroyed Muhammad Ali. It was painful to watch. Ali was slow, old, a shell of his former self. After the fight, Ali sat in the locker room, devastated. His career was over. Everyone knew it. The greatest boxer in the world had just been humiliated. The locker room cleared out. Press, trainers, even his closest friends gave him space. Ali sat alone, head in hands. Then the door opened. James Wilson walked in, still in his janitor uniform, had just finished cleaning the corridors. "Mr. Ali." Ali looked up, eyes red. "Hey James, come to see the fallen champion?" James sat down next to him. "I came to see my friend. Some friend. Look at me. I'm done. Finished. Everything I built, gone. You lost a fight. You didn't lose yourself. I lost more than a fight. I lost my identity. Boxing is who I am." "No," James said firmly. "Boxing is what you did, not who you are. You're the man who calls me every day, who learned the names of every janitor in every arena, who started a foundation for workers' rights. That's who you are." Ali was crying now. "I don't know who I am without boxing." "Then let me tell you, you're a man who learned humility, who started treating invisible people like they mattered, who became a real champion, not just a boxer. That's who you are, and Holmes can't take that from you." They sat together for an hour. James didn't try to fix anything, just sat with his friend in the pain. When Ali finally stood to leave, he hugged James. "Thank you, for everything, for telling me I wasn't a champion when I needed to hear it, for teaching me what being a champion really means." "You're welcome, Mr. Ali, but you taught yourself. I just pointed you in the right direction." For the next 15 years, they talked every single day. Muhammad Ali called James Wilson every single day. Not once did he miss, even when traveling internationally, even when sick. Every day at 3 p.m., James's phone would ring. They talked about everything: Ali's Parkinson's diagnosis, James's grandchildren, world events, small moments, life. James retired from janitorial work in 1985 at age 72. Ali tried to give him money. James refused. "I don't need your money, Mr. Ali, just your friendship." So Ali found other ways to help. Paid for James's grandson's college, helped James's daughter when she lost her job, visited James at his small apartment in Harlem at least once a month. In 1992, James had a stroke, mild but scary. Ali was on the next flight to New York, stayed at the hospital for 3 days. "You don't have to do this," James said from his hospital bed. Don't," Ali interrupted, voice slurred from Parkinson's. "Don't say you're just anything. You're my mentor, my teacher, my friend, the man who taught me what being a champion means." James smiled weakly. "You learned well, because I had a good teacher." James recovered, moved slower, but still sharp as ever. The daily phone calls continued. Other people noticed the friendship. Media asked Ali about it. "Why do you call a janitor every day?" Ali's response: "He's not a janitor. He's James Wilson, and he taught me the most important lesson of my life, that true greatness isn't about how many people know your name. It's about how many names you know." Then in 1995, James got sick. October 19, James Wilson was diagnosed with lung cancer. Stage 4. The doctors gave him 3 months. Ali was devastated. He flew to New York immediately, sat with James in his hospital room. "Don't look so sad, Mr. Ali," James said, his voice weak. "I've had a good life, long life, more than most people get, but I'm not ready to lose you. Nobody's ever ready. But that's okay. We had 17 years of daily conversations. That's more than most friendships get in a lifetime. You changed my life, James." "No, you changed your life. I just told you the truth one night. That truth saved me." James smiled. "Then I did my job." Over the next 2 months, Ali visited every week, sometimes just sitting quietly. James was too weak to talk much, but they didn't need words. on December 15th, 19. At the funeral, Ali insisted on speaking. His Parkinson's made it difficult, but he pushed through. Most people here knew James as a janitor, someone who cleaned buildings, someone who was invisible to the successful people. But James wasn't invisible to me, not after he taught me to see. Ali's voice shook. In 1978, I won a championship. I walked past James like he didn't exist, and he told me something that changed my life. You're not a champion. Those 4 words haunted me, made me angry, then made me think, then made me better. James taught me that real champions don't just win. They lift up the people around them. They see the invisible. They treat everyone with dignity, not because they have to, because they're human. Ali pulled out a piece of paper. James gave me this last week, asked me to read it today. The paper said, Muhammad Ali, you came to me as a boxer. You left as a champion. Not because you won fights, because you learned to see people. That's all I ever wanted, James. Ali folded the paper carefully. I called James every day for 15 years, 575 phone calls. Not one was a waste, because every conversation reminded me of what's important. Not belts, not fame, people, humanity, compassion. James Wilson was a janitor, but he was also the best teacher I ever had, the best friend I ever had. And if I'm remembered as a champion, it's because James taught me what that word means. After the funeral, Ali started something. After James's funeral, Muhammad Ali established the James Wilson Foundation. Its mission, to honor and support service workers, janitors, security guards, cooks, drivers, who keep the world running but rarely get recognized. The foundation provided scholarships for workers' children, healthcare assistance, recognition programs, annual awards for outstanding service workers. At the first awards ceremony in 1996, Ali said, James Wilson cleaned floors for 40 years. Most people never knew his name, but he lived with more dignity than most champions. This foundation makes sure workers like James are seen, valued, honored. Every year until his death in 2016, Ali personally called the finalists, learned their names, asked about their lives, made them feel seen, just like James had taught him. Ali also kept James's old work shirt, hung it in his office, a reminder. When people asked about it, Ali told the story, about the night a janitor told him he wasn't a champion, about the 15 years of friendship that followed, about the lesson that changed everything. In 2005, when Ali received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, he mentioned James in his acceptance speech. This medal is for James Wilson, a janitor who taught a boxer what it means to be great. When Muhammad Ali died in 2016, the James Wilson Foundation had helped over 10,000 service workers and their families. The foundation continues today, ensuring James's lesson lives on. True greatness is seeing and serving others. Today, if you visit the Muhammad Ali Center in Louisville, there's a special exhibit. It's not about boxing, it's about a janitor named James Wilson. The exhibit features the conversation from 1978, the 5,475 phone calls over 15 years, the friendship that changed a champion, and a quote on the wall, "You're not a champion just because you win. You're a champion because of how you treat the people who watch you win." James Wilson, 1978. The lesson James taught Ali is simple, but profound. Success without humility is just ego. Fame without kindness is just noise. Victory without gratitude is hollow. Ali learned that the hard way, from a 65-year-old janitor who had every reason to stay silent but chose to speak truth to power. And that truth, you're not a champion. Not yet. Transformed not just Ali's life, but thousands of lives through the foundation that bears James's name. Muhammad Ali once said after meeting James, "I thought I was great because I could beat anyone in the ring." James taught me that true greatness is treating everyone outside the ring like they matter. That night in 1978, when James Wilson told Ali he wasn't a champion, Ali could have walked away angry, could have dismissed an old janitor who didn't know anything about boxing. Instead, Ali listened, changed, grew, and spent the next 15 years proving James right by becoming the kind of champion James described. Not just a boxer, but a human being who saw and valued everyone. The greatest lesson Ali ever learned didn't come from a coach or a mentor or a fellow boxer. It came from a janitor with a mop who cared enough to tell the truth. Subscribe for more untold Muhammad Ali stories, the moments that mattered more than any fight. Comment, who taught you a lesson that changed your life? Remember, true champions don't just win. They see the people who are invisible to everyone else, and they treat them like champions too.